Most traders think the hardest part of trading is making money. But what about the hidden emotional cost of becoming successful that nobody talks about? Today, we will discuss the real challenge. What happens when trading starts changing you, and why so many traders pull themselves back just as things start improving. You are listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. I am your host, Agnieszka Wood, a trading mindset coach and a seasoned day trader with over a decade of experience. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. In this podcast, we explore the fascinating world of psychology and the human element of trading. We take a deep dive into different perspectives to inspire you and help you navigate the emotional ups and downs of trading with self-compassion and confidence. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, this podcast is your trusted companion providing support on your trading journey. Get ready to boost your confidence and unlock the secrets to mastering your mindset for success. Welcome to episode 80, the hidden cost of becoming a successful trader. In the last 7 years, I've worked with many traders whose biggest struggle was making money consistently. Most traders believe that this is the hardest part of trading and that once they finally achieve it, everything will fall into place. But what most people don't take into account is the process itself, the change that you have to go through before consistency can even happen. Because in many cases, this is where the real challenge begins. If you want to become successful in trading, or honestly, in any area of life, you eventually have to become serious about what you are trying to accomplish. And that starts changing more than just your account balance. First of all, it completely changes your priorities. It changes your habits, the way you think, sometimes even your relationships. And nobody really talks about that part, about the loneliness that can come with growth, the pressure. And sometimes the more serious you become about your growth and building a different future for yourself, the harder it becomes to relate to people around you. And you can get the feeling that you no longer exactly fit into the environment you once felt comfortable just because of the way you see the world now. So, in today's episode, I want to talk about the hidden emotional cost of becoming a successful trader and why so many traders sabotage growth, not because they don't want success, but because success itself can feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and simply emotionally unsafe. Now, the truth is, trading is already a very isolating path by itself. At the beginning, it might seem quite attractive. It's just you. You don't have to deal with office politics. You don't have to deal with difficult coworkers, bosses, meetings, expectations from other people all day long. Nobody tells you what to do. Nobody's watching you. You can work from home. You can make your own decisions. And honestly, and I hear this very often from traders, many people get attracted to trading because they are tired of dealing with other people's stuff. They want independence, peace, freedom. They want to finally rely on themselves. And in the beginning, that sounds amazing. But once you have been trading for a while, you start realizing that this freedom is not exactly what you imagined it would be. Because trading can become mentally and emotionally consuming in a way most people are not prepared for. There's constant uncertainty, pressure, self doubt, emotional swings, frustration, questioning your decisions, questioning your future, questioning whether you are actually capable of making this work. And most traders carry all of that quietly without really talking about it. Because honestly, who are they going to talk to? Most people around you don't really understand what the heck trading actually feels like. From the outside, it looks simple. You just sit at a computer and click buttons. That's how many people see it. And for many people, trading is basically gambling. So a lot of traders end up getting reactions of disbelief or judgment or pity. How can you do this? Isn't that risky? So are you actually making money? When are you going to get a real job? And if someone is already struggling internally, those conversations can hit very hard because maybe you already secretly feel pressure and maybe even shame around not being where you thought you would be by now, especially today when social media makes it seem like everybody else is making money, everybody is successful, everybody figured it out except you. So slowly, many traders stop talking openly about what they are going through. They stop talking about losses, about frustration, fear, about the emotional roller coaster, and about the pressure that they feel every single day. And that's where isolation starts becoming deeper. At first, trading was simply something you are just learning. But little by little, it starts taking more and more emotional and mental space in your life. You wake up thinking about trading. You go to sleep thinking about trading. You replay trades while driving. You sit with your family, but mentally you are still at the charts thinking about the setup you missed earlier that day or the trade you should have exited differently. And over time, many traders start feeling like they are living between two worlds. One world is the normal everyday life around them. People talking about work, vacations, daily routines, random problems. And then there's this completely different internal world traders are carrying every single day. The charts, the pressure, the uncertainty, the hope, the frustration, and the obsession with finally making this work. And because most people around them cannot even relate to that reality, traders often start turning more and more inward. They stay in their own head, they overthink, they obsess about the market, and they mentally carry every win and every loss into the rest of their day, to the dinner table, to time with their kids, into conversations with friends, into their relationships. And sometimes even very normal social situations start feeling uncomfortable. You go to a birthday party or meet new people somewhere, and eventually somebody asks, "So, what do you do?" And suddenly your brain starts racing. Do you say you trade? Do you avoid the topic? Do you say something vague because you don't want to explain yourself? Because if you say you trade, many times the next question is, "Oh, so you are making money?" And if you are not where you want to be yet, that question can feel painful. So sometimes traders stop wanting to socialize altogether because they are tired of feeling misunderstood or judged. And other times they isolate because internally they feel, I should already be further by now. So now it's no longer just getting away from people. Now they are trying to fight this internal battle completely on their own. And the deeper someone gets into trading, the more their mind can become occupied by it. Even when they are away from the screens, they are still thinking about setups, mistakes, missed opportunities, money, the future, whether they're making progress or falling behind. And all of that creates constant pressure they keep carrying back into the trading desk every single day. That's one of the reasons trading can quietly become emotionally exhausting. And then something else starts happening. As traders become more serious about growth, they also start changing internally. Their priorities begin shifting. The way they think starts shifting. The things they value start shifting. Because if you truly want to become successful in trading, eventually you cannot keep thinking and operating the same way you used to. And that's when you often realize you no longer fully relate to the people or environments that once felt familiar to you. Success in trading doesn't just require different actions, it eventually requires a different way of thinking, behaving, and relating to life. Profitable traders think differently, not because they're smarter than everyone else, but because trading forces them to start seeing things differently if they want to survive long term. They start understanding that impulsive behavior has consequences and that emotional reactions are quite expensive, that patience matters, that protecting peace and mental clarity matters, that chasing excitement usually leads to poor decisions, that they cannot keep saying, oh, well, who cares? You live only once. Let's go all in. And this is where traders often start feeling even more disconnected from the people around them, because we live in a world that constantly rewards impulsiveness, instant gratification, more stimulation, more noise, more consumption, more reacting. But trading teaches the opposite. It teaches you patience, restraint, waiting, not forcing things, and thinking long term, doing less instead of more. So over time, that starts changing your lifestyle too. Your priorities begin shifting. You stop wanting constant chaos and you become more protective of your energy and focus. Sometimes you stop needing the same validation that you used to seek from other people because you realize how emotionally expensive that can become. And people around you are constantly chasing this excitement, spending impulsively, reacting emotionally, jumping from one thing to another, while you are sitting there thinking about consistency, emotional control, sleep, focus, risk, long term consequences. And sometimes those changes show up in very ordinary moments. For example, your friend wants to stay out drinking until 2 a.m., and you're thinking, I really don't want to feel exhausted and emotionally dysregulated tomorrow before trading. And sometimes you start feeling like you become a more boring companion. You weigh risks more. You don't want to do things that harm your mental state. You pay more attention to how you feel. And for probably the first time in your life, you truly start caring about how you feel because you realize your emotional state directly affects your decisions, your trading, your results, and ultimately your future. And this is where many traders start feeling the distance growing, not because you become better than others, but because you become different, because growth creates distance. You start valuing different things, think differently, spend your time differently, respond differently. And while that growth is necessary, it can also feel uncomfortable because part of you still wants connection, familiarity, and acceptance from the people and environments that the ones you identified with. And this is also where something very important starts happening psychologically. Because even when people consciously want growth, another part of them often wants familiarity. And the brain naturally prefers what feels familiar and known, even when what's familiar is frustrating or unhealthy. Why is that? Because familiarity feels safe. We feel comfortable with what we know. For most of human history, survival depended on belonging to a group. Being accepted by the tribe meant safety. Being rejected or isolated could literally mean danger. So even today, on a very deep level, we as human beings are still seeking familiarity, connection, and emotional safety. And that's why growth can feel strangely uncomfortable. Because when you become different, it separates you from the group. And that can unconsciously feel unsafe, especially when your environment, relationships, habits, or how you see yourself no longer fully aligns with the direction you are trying to go. It feels like you're in a split. Like one part of you wants to move forward, but another part keeps pulling you back toward what feels known and emotionally safe. And traders experience this a lot. They say they want consistency, they say they want success, but when things actually start improving, many traders unconsciously start pulling themselves back toward what emotionally feels familiar. And usually they have very logical reasons why they cannot show up the way they should during the trading day. Suddenly there is no time to journal, no time to prepare, no time to review trades. They get distracted, start skipping routines, start negotiating with themselves and telling themselves, I'll do it tomorrow. This is not that important. I already know this. And little by little, they start pulling away from the exact things that were helping them improve. But it's not because they are lazy, not because they consciously want to fail, but because the nervous system often trusts what is familiar more than what's possible. And you can see this happen in trading all the time. You finally have a good week and suddenly start overtrading the next week. You start following your plan consistently and then randomly abandon your rules or the structure you built after making some good progress. Or you slowly build confidence and then you take an impulsive trade that completely throws you off emotionally again. Sometimes you start to become patient and disciplined, and suddenly you feel the urge to force trades because calmness starts feeling unfamiliar. And this confuses many traders because consciously they think, wait a minute, but this is what I wanted. Yes, consciously. But emotionally, success can still feel unfamiliar. And the moment you start getting closer to it, fear often starts showing up too. And you subconsciously pull back because success is not only about making money. Success changes identity, it changes behavior, it changes lifestyle, relationships, expectations. And part of the brain interprets all of that as uncertainty. So subconsciously, many people pull themselves back toward emotional patterns they already know, even if those patterns are working against them. That's why many traders don't only struggle with failure, they also struggle with progress. Because progress creates change, and change creates uncertainty. So now you not only have uncertainty coming from the market, you also add internal uncertainty to the process. And that combination can feel deeply uncomfortable and emotionally exhausting. This is also one of the reasons traders often give profits back right after finally having success. And many people think it's simply greed. But a lot of times it's because the nervous system has not yet fully adapted to the idea that keeping profits, being disciplined, being calm, and operating differently is actually safe. Their new behavior is not yet their default. So they unconsciously recreate emotional chaos because chaos feels more familiar than stability. And that's a very different conversation than simply saying, you just need more discipline. Because discipline is often not the real problem. The real problem is that many traders are trying to create consistency while carrying this constant pressure to succeed. The uncertainty, shame, self doubt, and isolation all at the same time. And after a while, this starts affecting the nervous system too, because human beings are not built to carry emotional pressure alone for long periods of time. So if you notice yourself withdrawing more, isolating, becoming emotionally consumed by trading, or feeling like nobody around you understands what you are going through, this is very normal. A lot of traders experience this. But the answer is not isolating yourself even more. The answer is finding healthier connection, finding people who understand what true growth means, people who are also working on expanding their limits, people who understand the emotional reality of trading without judging every setback or making you feel weak for struggling. Because sometimes what traders need most is simply support while going through the process of becoming someone new. And this is also important to understand. Just because growth feels uncomfortable right now doesn't mean something is wrong. In many cases, discomfort is simply a sign that you are leaving behind old emotional patterns, old habits, old ways of thinking and operating that no longer align with where you are trying to go. And yes, at first, the new behavior can feel unnatural. Being patient, protecting your boundaries, following your plan consistently, keeping profits, or saying no to impulsive behavior, all of that may feel unnatural. Why? Because your nervous system is still more familiar with the old version of you. Over time, calmness, structure, emotional stability, protecting your energy, taking care of yourself, all become more natural. And eventually, the new reality you're building starts feeling safer than the old one. But to get there, you have to allow yourself to go through some discomfort instead of immediately pulling yourself back every time you move beyond your comfort zone. Because that's what change is, constantly moving beyond what feels familiar. And honestly, isn't it the whole reason most people start trading in the first place? To change something, to change their life, to stop living the same old reality, to create a future that looks different from what they have known so far. But listen, if you want a different life, then naturally you will also have to change in the process because the version of you that exists today is perfectly adapted to the life you live today. So if you want something different, you will have to slowly grow into someone who can create and sustain that new reality. And that process will feel uncomfortable at times. So if you feel resistance, discomfort, emotional tension, or like part of you is scared while you are growing, don't let it spook you. It does not automatically mean you are going in the wrong direction. Many times it simply means you are moving forward. You are expanding beyond what used to feel familiar. So instead of fighting the discomfort, learn to expect it, welcome it, move through it, and slowly let go of what is no longer helping you become the person you are trying to grow into. See it as outgrowing old shoes. At first, new ones may feel uncomfortable. You notice every step, but eventually you stop thinking about them completely, and suddenly you are walking miles with ease. So instead of focusing only on becoming a successful trader, focus on learning how to grow and build the emotional capacity to let go of the old version of yourself so you can become someone you are genuinely excited to meet. Thank you for listening to the Confidence in Trading podcast. If you are enjoying my show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and tell me what you like about it. Thanks to you, more traders will be able to find me, and together we'll make a bigger impact. So thank you so much. If you are new to my show, don't forget to subscribe so you can come back for the next episode. And make sure to also check some of the previous shows. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Agnieszka Wood from Ahead Coach. Bye for now.